Hello and welcome to Sports Fan Entertainment. 32 teams, 32 days, and today we are talking about the Indianapolis Colts, and this is a very intriguing team heading into the 2017-18 NFL season. Right now, a bunch of question marks, specifically at the quarterback position for this team, but regardless, we're going to assume Andrew Luck is going to play all 16 games this season. So with that said, we're going to talk about the Colts, look at their strengths, their weaknesses, give you some bold predictions, give you a fantasy outlook, and get out of here with my final win-loss prediction. Remember to head over to sportsfanentertainment.com for the article previewing the Indianapolis Colts. The link to that article will be down in the description box below. So assuming he is healthy, the first strength for this football team has got to be at quarterback. It's got to be Andrew Luck. When he is healthy, when he is right, he is a top 10 quarterback in the NFL, bordering on top 5 for me. I cannot say top 5, but eventually he probably will be at this rate, at this pace, if the Colts could ever surround him with a good offensive line and a good running back. And it looks like they're finally getting those pieces together. Last year, 31 touchdowns to 13 interceptions, a nice bounce back year for Andrew Luck, but he needs to be healthy. Right now, he's nursing a lot of injuries in training camp. It doesn't look like he's going to play any of the preseason, and now his week 1 certainty is definitely in doubt. We'll have to see about that, but if he is healthy, Andrew Luck is definitely a strength for this football team. But with that said, I don't see another definitive strength for this football team. And that's not to say that this team is bad, that this team is trash. I just cannot tell you one other positional group that I say, yes, this could be a top 8 positional group in the NFL. I just don't see it. So let's go ahead and get into the weaknesses. And for me, there's 2 positional groupings, but they're pretty important. And the linebackers and the defensive line. Let's start with the linebackers. Let's start with your inside linebackers. Now, right now, you're starting 2 guys that really should be backups, okay? And this is a problem. Sean Spence, who was a backup last year for the Tennessee Titans, and in limited duty, he did actually decent. I know, I'm a Titans fan, but he's a backup. He's not a starter quality inside linebacker in the NFL. He's good in coverage, not great against the run. You don't love that. You're also likely to start Antonio Morrison next to him. Now, this guy's intriguing. You took him last year, I believe, out of Florida, and during that time, I actually liked that pick. I think it was in 4th round. You guys took him, 125th overall pick. I liked him, but in his rookie year, he didn't play great. He's a big run-stuffing linebacker, so you have a coverage guy and a run-stuffing guy. You like that, but these guys are really... Sean Spence is a backup guy, and Morrison's really unproven. You also have Edwin Jackson and John Bostic and Anthony Walker battling for competition here. I mean, I just have a hard time seeing these inside linebackers being very good at all. Look at the outside linebackers for this team right now. And I like them better than the inside for sure. You signed Jabal Sheard, formerly of the New England Patriots. Now, I like this guy. He sets the edge well, but he's not a big-time pass rusher. Jabal Sheard is not going to get you 10-plus sacks, and you need someone to do that for you. Almost every team needs that kind of guy. But he will set the edge well, definitely against the run. Look at John Simon. This was a rotational guy for the Houston Texans, man. He was a nice third guy, okay, behind Clowney and Merciless, but you didn't really want to start John Simon, and now you have to start John Simon. I don't love that. I mean, he can come in and get some nice pass rush for you, but again, this is not a big-time pass rusher. Now, behind him, you did sign Margus Hunt, who I believe you'll be standing up. He never really produced for the Cincinnati Bengals other than special teams, but you drafted Terrell Basham out of Ohio, and I believe the 3rd round, and I'm intrigued by this guy, and this guy could eventually be a big-time pass rusher for you, but not his rookie year. So the outside linebackers, I don't think that they're bad, but they're certainly not good, and they're not going to be one of the better units in the NFL. The linebackers are a weakness. We look at the defensive line for this football team. Now, this is a weakness for this team. Now, you signed Jonathan Hankins, formerly of the New York Giants, and I like Jonathan Hankins, but next to him, you have Henry Anderson. Now, in his rookie year, 2015, this guy played pretty well. Next year was injured after he tore his ACL near the end of the 2015 season. He was injured throughout most of the 2016 season. He said he never really felt right, played about 7 games, didn't make an impact. We'll see what he can do this upcoming year if he can stay healthy, because his rookie year, he actually was impressive, and I like him coming out of Stanford when you guys took him. So I'm intrigued by Henry Anderson, but right now he's a bit of a question mark. Other guys, you have David Perry, who may not make the roster. He's been an underwhelming nose tackle for years. Now you guys have finally realized that. Hassan Ridgeway, who underwhelmed at Texas, never really lived up to his potential at Texas, now is kind of doing the same for you. T.Y. McGill, who's only okay, a good pass rusher, not much more than that. Al Woods, who you signed from the Tennessee Titans, I know he's not very good. The defensive line, not very good in Indianapolis. So with that said, those are the only two weaknesses that I see. So I only see one definitive strength, but I only also see two definitive weaknesses. Now, those are pretty big weaknesses. I mean, that's the majority of your defense. The whole defensive line and the whole linebacker core. I mean, those are 8 guys right there pretty much. So you don't love that, but other than that, there's a bunch of positions that to me are neither strengths nor weaknesses. Some of them could end up being quite good. Some of them can end up being quite bad. Now let's start with the offensive line. We start by looking at Anthony Costanzo, left tackle. This guy's good. And I don't know why people underrate this guy. He's good. He's not great, but he's good. Look at left guard. Right now it's likely to be Jack Mewhort, although they've been flipping he and Joe Haig at the guard positions lately in training camp. But Mewhort should start on the left side unless they decide to ultimately put him at the right side. Either way, I think he's fine. I don't think he's a bad guard at all. Look at center Ryan Kelly. I like this guy, right? You took him last year in the draft. He protected Andrew Luck well. I don't think he registered more than like a sack allowed last year. You love that for Ryan Kelly. Maybe he steps up and is a Pro Bowl center this year. Wouldn't shock me at all. Right guard, let's say it's Joe Haig, right? Right now he's competing with Denzel Good, who's Denzel bad. To me, that guy's not very good. Hopefully it's Joe Haig. And then you also have Laraven Clark, whom we took last year, right tackle out of Texas Tech. He struggled in his rookie year. We expected that. He was a project coming out of college, but I mean, he can still improve, right? He still has a lot of nice intangibles that you like in terms of his measurables and his overall potential. So I'm intrigued by this offensive line. Look at the wide receivers. You know, last year I thought it was a strength, but man, it just didn't work out. I mean, T.Y. Hilton's great, man. This guy, to me, I think is a top 10 wide receiver. 1,400 receiving yards last year. Are you kidding me? Led the league? He's a top 10 wide receiver at least. Come on, guys. Give T.Y. Hilton some respect. But beyond him, what is there? I mean, I thought Dante Moncrief was going to break out last year, have 1,000 yards, had nowhere near it. 300 receiving yards for Dante Moncrief. This guy continues to struggle with injuries, currently nursing a shoulder injury. Should be back for week 1, but I mean, I don't love that aspect right now. Philip Dorsett, I mean, he doesn't look like a complete bust, but he's definitely a disappointment. You know, formerly a first-round pick, and this guy had 500 yards last year as a slot receiver. And maybe may not even stick with this team after his contract runs out. I wouldn't be surprised, would you? So you don't love this wide receiver core right now. It's not bad. You do have some intriguing guys like a Chester Rogers who maybe can take another step forward for you, but for right now, the wide receivers are just not very good. Now, you also signed Kamar Aiken. I mean, come on. He's only okay. He was only okay for the Ravens. He's only going to be okay for you. Tight ends. Now, Jack Doyle, he had a nice season last year, but he's fine, right? Is he a top 10 tight end? No. Come on. Definitively no. I mean, you look at the tight ends in the league right now. It's ridiculous. You have so many good tight ends. Guys like Jimmy Graham, Travis Kelce, Rob Gronkowski, Delaney Walker, even a guy like Jordan Reed, you could argue, is not even a top 5 tight end right now. I mean, the tight end position is stacked, and Jack Doyle does not match up. Like, he's on that Eric Ebron range to me, where they'll likely get you 5, maybe 600 receiving yards, which is decent, but that's not top 10. So your tight ends aren't bad, but they're not good. Running backs, I almost said weakness, but I gave them a break because I think Marlon Mack's going to end up being quite good. I think Marlon Mack could have a Jordan Howard type season. Now, I'm not going to predict that for him, but it wouldn't shock me. If Marlon Mack won the starting job, let's say by week 4, and then just has an incredible season, it would not shock me at all. I don't have him scheduled for that, but just look out for that. We look at the cornerbacks. Okay, Vontae Davis, he struggled last year, but he had a bunch of injuries that he was nursing. I expect a bounce back year. Now, we'll see to what extent he bounces back, but I'm intrigued by Vontae Davis. Look at Quincy Wilson on the opposite side. Now, I'm a big Quincy Wilson fan. Huge Quincy Wilson fan. I mean, the Titans took Adoree Jackson with a number 18 pick. I thought they should have took Quincy Wilson, whom the Colts got in the 2nd round. I like Quincy Wilson more than Adoree Jackson, so I think this is fine. You're already hearing in training camp he's playing well. I like this, okay? Cornerbacks, other than those guys, though, Darius Butler, he's actually all right. Rashawn Melvin, he's okay. Daryl Morris, he's okay. The cornerbacks, they're okay. I don't think that they're bad. In fact, I like this secondary more than the other parts of this defense, so I think this is going to be your strong part of your defense, but yeah. And then safeties, they could end up being a strength, okay? Malik Hooker, man, this guy, we all knew this guy was going to be a big-time steal when he just kept falling down the draft board. The Colts picked him up out of Ohio State, big-time ball hawk. He's healthy right now. This guy, if he plays, he's going to make an impact, period. Look out for Malik Hooker at the free safety position. Clayton Gathers had a nice bounce-back year last year after a disappointing rookie campaign. And then TJ Green, I didn't love him last year in his rookie year, but it was his rookie year. You know, maybe he improves, and now you have 3 good safeties. So I look out for these safeties for the Indianapolis Colts. We move on to my fantasy projections for the Indianapolis Colts this season. Andrew Luck. Now, I'm going to assume that he's going to play 16 games, and this is a dangerous assumption. But I have him down for 4,200 passing yards, 28 touchdowns to 12 interceptions. This is even a bit down from last year, and the reason being is, you know, without throwing a football in training camp, man, he's going to struggle early, I think. I mean, I could be wrong on this, but I think he's going to struggle early. Marlon Mack. I don't think he's going to lead the team in rushing yards, but I wanted to project him anyway. 120 carries, 510 yards, 4 touchdowns, but look out for this guy because I'm telling you, he could be that Jordan Howard. I'm not going to say it because he's only number 3 on the depth chart right now, so I don't want to go out on a limb. That's too high of a limb for me. But look out for Mr. Mack and T.Y. Hilton, 85 catches, 1,300 yards, and 6 touchdowns. The standard T.Y. Hilton type year. Bold predictions. Marlon Mack starts by December. I think you have to push this guy forward. Whether the Colts are in the playoff picture or not, you have to start to see what you have in the running back position because to me, you really need to pair Andrew Luck with a young, up-and-coming running back. You have to see that type of potential because if you could have that type of pairing, that is so dangerous in the league. To have a franchise quarterback and a franchise running back, both young, you have to try to find that man as soon as possible. Bold prediction number 2, Week 17 game versus the Texans could determine the playoff spot. Now, I didn't say AFC South winner, okay, because I got the Titans winning this thing, and I feel better about that as each passing day. But I think this could be a wild card spot on the line. Now, it's going to be tough because the AFC West, every team in there to me is going to compete for the playoffs. Every single one of them, even the Chargers. And then in the AFC North, the Ravens and the Bengals will be competing as well. But with the Dolphins current in situation with Jay Cutler and all that, I like y'all's chances even better for this game to potentially determine a playoff spot because the Texans and the Colts are right there to me, and I can see that Week 17 game determining a playoff spot. And then Quincy Wilson is the team's best cornerback. Okay, now this is bold. Okay, to say that Quincy Wilson in his rookie year will be better than Vontae Davis, but you know what? I'm all in on Quincy Wilson. I think he's going to be very good. He scares the hell out of me, and I'm a Titans fan, and I'm worried. Okay. We look at the Indianapolis Colts schedule. Okay, you guys are once again in the AFC South where you have swept the Tennessee Titans for God knows how many years. Now, this could be my Titans fandom talking, and maybe it is, but I think that ends this year. I think it's a split between you and the Titans. Last year, I believe the Texans swept y'all. Like, I know there was one overtime game where the Texans beat y'all, and y'all really should have beat them, and y'all didn't take advantage of that. And the other game, I cannot remember what happened right now, but I'm pretty sure the Texans won that one too. Let me look at it right now. Yes, the Texans won that one too. Okay, this year you'll split with them, right? I mean, last year it probably should have been a split, but you choked that game away. We go back to splitting with the Texans, okay? And then for the Jaguars, you're not going to like what I have to say. I see a split there as well. I think the Jaguars are going to be dangerous, especially within their own division. I mean, they're not going to win many games outside of the division. They're not going to win many games overall, either being about a 6-win team, and they're going to win some games. And I look at December at Jacksonville, and that scares me tremendously. Okay, especially because the Colts are likely to be coming off of a Tennessee win at that point. So I look out for that. I think it's a split with every team in the AFC South. We move on to the other divisions you guys go up against. You guys go up against the NFC West. You go to LA, you go to Seattle, you host Arizona, and you host San Francisco. Now, to LA, you know, at first I was looking at this game and I was saying, oh, no, they got that. But, man, Andrew Luck doesn't play, or moreover, and I'm going to talk about this more in a second, if there are offensive chemistry issues, this is looking problematic. LA is not going to be very good, but they can win some games on you. I'm not confident about that game anymore. And at Seattle, that's an L to me. So I'm going to say 0-2 right there. And then hosting Arizona, again, is Andrew Luck going to play for this game? I'm assuming he will, but I'm afraid about the offensive chemistry issues early in the season. No training camp practice with Andrew Luck. Where's the chemistry going to be? I mean, I know it's a similar returning cast from last season, but man, that's asking a lot. And then hosting San Francisco, you'll win, but I'm seeing 2-2 or 1-3 against the NFC West. I think it's dangerous, very dangerous, although the NFC West is not good. Because you face the NFC West, all teams in the NFC West, you face it within the first 6 weeks. Wow. I mean, this is not an opportune moment. We look at the next division. You guys also go up against the AFC North. You host the Steelers. You also host the Baltimore Ravens. No, you go to the Ravens, you go to the Bengals, and you host the Browns. Okay, you'll beat the Browns. The Steelers, I think you get upset. You know, the Steelers are not great on the road. You guys could easily throw all over their secondary with Andrew Luck. At this point, he'll be healthy. I think you guys can win that game. I have you guys winning that game. You guys, again, go to Cincinnati, go to Baltimore. Those are tough. You can win, though. I mean, the Colts with Andrew Luck, they go on the road, they win games. So I'll say you win one of those. I'm not sure which one, but I say you win one, and you go 3-1 in that division. Very good. You guys also go up against the teams that finished concurrently with you in the AFC. One from the AFC West and the Denver Broncos, whom you host in week 15. I think that's a win. And you guys also go up against a team from the AFC East, Buffalo at Buffalo. That's dangerous, but you guys could win there. I'll be safe though and say you lose that one. Maybe you instead lose to Denver and beat Buffalo, though it would shock me. So I think it's safe to say it's split there. So when you look at my win-loss predictions for the Indianapolis Colts, best case scenario to me is 11-5. I mean, I can see this team being a playoff team because now you're starting to have some ascending talents, okay? You have Andrew Luck offensively, who we already know is great. Now you have an ascending guys on the defense. Now you have Quincy Wilson. You have Malik Hooker. You have Henry Anderson, right? These young ascending players, Antonio Morrison, young ascending players getting better. You like that. Finally, some youth has been injected into this football team after the horrible drafts that was Ryan Grigson's regime, okay? But worst case scenario, 6-10, because I can see this team underwhelming. Andrew Luck gets off to a bad start in this offense, because right now, my big concern right now, Andrew Luck, again, has not thrown a pass in practice. And from what I've heard from Colts training camp, the offense looks awful. And it's all because Scott Tolzien is at the helm. I understand that. But it's asking a lot to say, okay, go from being awful to being good now. Okay, week 1, now let's go. Okay, without having almost any, practice time. I mean, even with a returning cast, it requires some work to be done. I think they get off to a shaky start and they could never get back up and only go 6-10. My prediction is 8-8. I really want to pick this Colts team to make the playoffs because Andrew Luck is one of those guys that, dude, he wins in this league. Like, his worst season is 8-8. I kind of trust this guy, right? But, man, I mean, with his injury right now, no chemistry offensively in training camp. They've looked awful, and the possibility of him missing games, it's 8-8. And let me tell you right now, if he misses the first 6 games, he gets put on the PUP list, this is going down to 7-9 or 6-10, okay? And every single best case, the worst case, in my prediction will come down by 1 or 2 wins. So the best case would then only be 9-7. The worst case could be 4-12. I mean, everything would come down if Andrew Luck misses the first 6 games of the season. And right now, I don't know what's going to happen. Adam Schefter was not talking good about it today. Jason LaConfora of CBS Sports was not talking good about it. It's looking more and more likely that the Colts are in trouble, and I cannot go all in on this football team in 2017. So there you go. Those are my thoughts on the Indianapolis Colts. What yours? Comment down below. I want to know. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to like, comment, and most importantly, to subscribe. And until next time, this has been MJ of Sports Fan Entertainment. I'm out. See you all later.